Hey everybody, John Woolworth here for Travel Worth Taking. Travel doesn't have to be expensive. When I travel on a budget. From the Caribbean to Africa to Asia, there are innumerable places to see that won't break the bank. Today we're in Nassau, Bahamas. Nassau is a very popular stopping spot for cruise ships. I've personally been there 4 or 5 times now. But is it worth visiting? Well, in this episode, I'll walk through the things that we're able to see when you stop in Nassau, Bahamas. Then toward the end of the video, I'll break down what we spent while we were there, and finally, I'll determine in my opinion whether it was worth visiting. First off, I'd like to start by saying that when I travel to see the local culture and try to get a feel for the authenticity of the place. I'm not somebody who goes to a place and immediately looks for a resort or heads straight to Senor Frogs. If that's you, then this isn't the channel for you. Nassau sits on the island of New Providence and is the capital of the Bahamas. It's also by far the most populous island, though it's quite small, size-wise anyway. Most things there are to do are within walking distance of the port unless you decide to take a ferry to go swim with the pigs on Rose Island. Generally speaking, you're going to want to stay within walking distance of the port anyway, as the neighborhoods definitely get a bit sketchier feeling as you head farther away. Even places close to the port will have boarded up or abandoned buildings. Alright, so we're on an MSC cruise and we weren't supposed to be in Nassau today, but the weather was bad and we weren't able to dock where we were going to be, so we are in Nassau, Bahamas, and there's some good stuff to see, so we're going to make the most of it. And there is the ship that we came on. There's my gorgeous wife hiding behind me. So we're just going to do a walking tour today. We're just going to kind of walk around and see the sights. There's not a ton to do in Nassau unless you want to do like touristy, resorty kind of stuff and like water slides and aquariums and stuff like that, but that's not really our thing, so off we go. So this is a new entrance to the port. We haven't seen this before. This is all brand new with the I don't know what you even want to call that, with the whole TV and the bridge over the area where you walk through. It's a nice entrance to the port, but of course, as you head out of the restricted area where the ships are, you just get bombarded with... Oh wow, sea turtle. Oh, and now it's gone. Really? There's a sea turtle right there. But yeah, when you get out of the port area of Nassau, it's really a bit of a zoo. Everybody trying to get me a taxi or a tour or whatever else. So we try to get out of that as quickly as possible. What's that, Lynn?
We ignore them all.
Yeah, we ignore them all. Really, anything worth seeing in Nassau is within walking distance of the port. Before you even get out onto the street, you will be given ample opportunity to part with your money on overpriced items as they funnel you through shops, bars, and restaurants before you even enter Nassau itself. For a lot of people, this is as far as they get. If you only want the cartoon version of the Bahamas and feel like spending too much on everything, then this is the place for you. If, on the other hand, you want to experience a little bit of the character, history, and culture of Nassau, you're going to want to keep walking. The first thing I generally head toward when I get off the ship is the Queen's Staircase and Fort Fincastle. The Queen's Staircase was carved out of solid limestone by freed slaves in the 1700s as an escape route from Fort Fincastle above. It's really quite impressive, and the historical site is definitely worth seeing. It's free, and it's about a mile walk from the ship. It is, if you're going to come to Nassau, this is a good place to come. It doesn't cost anything to come in. It's got history to it. It is beautiful, especially when they're not doing work on it.
But they're working on it to make
They're working on it to make it beautiful, yes. And here's the actual staircase that it's named after. Yeah, but it is kind of unique. It's from a historical standpoint, it's cool, and I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like this, especially in the Bahamas, because the Bahamas are usually so flat, you know.
My legs can attest.
Well, yeah, we've definitely come uphill. Well, should we go up the stairs?
Yeah.
All right. It's a tourist attraction for people who love to climb stairs.
history.
For history, yeah. And we get to the top, and we are at the top of the island. Yeah, I gotta get a picture of the coconuts here. It's kind of cool. Look at all the colors. This is kind of cool. When you climb the 66 stairs to the top, it will take you to Fort Fincastle, which defended the harbor and was built in 1793. $3 a person to go in. You got?
Have a cash.
Oh, I have cash. That's right. I have cash. What a coincidence. Oh, did you roll your eyes again?
Did.
Really?
No, I'm not gonna. You already
You're not
called
going to do it? No, I missed it. Okay, whatever. All right, going in. It's a very small fort, but the entrance fee is only a few dollars and is worth seeing for the historical aspects, and it's also the highest point on the island and gives you a great view of the harbor and the cruise port. There are also small shops right next to the fort that are run by locals, and if you're looking for souvenirs, you're probably going to find better prices here than closer to the port. You can also get a fresh coconut and sip the coconut water here. You can spend a bit of time at the Queen's Staircase and Fort Fincastle, but you're definitely not going to want to take all day there or even all morning, so at this point you have choices. I generally start heading northwest back toward the coast at this point, with my ultimate goal to get to Junkanoo Beach. But on the way there are a lot of other things to see. There are, of course, all of the typical shops you'll find at every cruise port selling luxury goods like watches and jewelry. I, of course, avoid these in favor of places with a more local feel. One of the places we stopped by briefly on our eventual arrival at the beach is the Government House. It's just an interesting historical stop with the current facade dating from the 1930s after the original was damaged in the 1929 hurricane. It features a couple of well-known statues, one of Christopher Columbus and the other one of Queen Victoria, who was instrumental in the abolishment of slavery in the Bahamas. After that, it's pretty much just exploring Nassau and some of the local businesses. We enjoy stopping by a particular ice cream shop that's upstairs in one of the tourist shops. They have good ice cream, many with flavors that reflect the Bahamas like mango and such. There's a rather rickety porch on the outside where you can enjoy your ice cream looking out over the Bahamian architecture with the national flag blowing in the breeze. Another historic and beautiful spot to stop by after the ice cream shop is Christchurch Cathedral. It is open to the public and it's free to enter, though donations are welcome. The original building dates to 1670 and the current sanctuary dates to 1861. It is a functioning Anglican church and you're welcome to stay for a service. Otherwise, just enjoy the history and architecture. Down a bit is the Straw Market, which is a very large building packed to the gills with local merchants, artists, and people selling all kinds of things that have something to do with the Bahamas, or even a few things that aren't Bahamas at all. It's as much an experience as anything, even if you don't buy anything, but if you're looking for gifts for someone from your trip, this is a place you're likely going to find it. It can be a bit overwhelming though, as everybody wants to sell you something. Some people love this kind of thing and like haggling. I'm personally not a big fan, that's just not my thing, but I also don't like shopping, so what can I say? After this, we follow West Bay Street to Junkanoo Beach. Should you go straight to Junkanoo Beach from the cruise port, it's only about 1,000 meters or about 2/3 of a mile. From Fort Fincastle, it's a little bit farther than that. It's a nice beach with good sand and a view of both the cruise ships and the historic Hog Island Lighthouse across the water, which is something you also see as you come in on the ship. It's also dotted with little bars, many of which are just shacks along the water. The massive Margaritaville Resort also sits behind it. It's not the nicest beach in the world, but it's convenient to the ships, and the water is pretty clear. There are also some jetties you can sit on and relax and just watch the boats go by. Alright, now the part you've all been waiting for. How much did it cost, and in my opinion, was it worth it? First, the cost. Every time we've been to Nassau, it was on a cruise ship. In this cost breakdown, I'm only including what we spent on shore. I'll be doing a separate video about what we spent doing the cruise. I have a video already online, though, where we did a cruise and visited Nassau, and I have a link here for that. Check it out, it's worth the watch. Now, what we spent. Well, we spent a ridiculously small amount of money for being on shore for the better part of a day. So the cost of things was the Queen's Staircase was free. Fort Finn Castle, $3 a person, and there were 4 of us that visited this, so there was $12 for 4 of us. A t-shirt at Senior Frogs, $26.40, and all of this is in US dollars. Ice cream for 2 of us, $12.85. Christchurch Cathedral, free. Junkanoo Beach, free. So the total we spent on shore was only $51.25. Now you might think, wow, that's not a lot of money to spend for a day in Nassau, but here's the thing. Nassau is a tourist trap, and frankly, it's an inescapable tourist trap. Once you leave the area immediately around the ship, things go downhill pretty quickly. So you either spend money on touristy kitsch or you don't spend it at all. We didn't care for kitsch, so we just didn't spend the money. And this leads me into whether I think Nassau is worth it or not. There is plenty to do on Nassau, but it's all things like water slides and resorts and things that would not be there if not for the cruise ships. And most of them are quite expensive. There are far prettier islands in the Bahamas with far better beaches and things to do like explore caves and cenotes and blue holes and things like that, and see the natural side of Bahamas, which is something that we enjoy doing. Even islands like Grand Bahama have really pretty places and things to do if you can get away from the port area. So in short, for me, Nassau is fine to visit once if your expectations are not that high, but I wouldn't make a special trip to go there. Certainly, if you have to fly into the Bahamas, pick a different island. The Bahamas has a lot to offer, it's just not in Nassau. As usual, if you've enjoyed this channel, please like us and subscribe. Comment if you agree or totally disagree with me on any of my assessments, and join us for future videos as we explore some truly diverse places. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.